This video is being provided to the Board of Education to help them have a better understanding of the monthly financial reports that are presented to the board each month. I'm going to run you through about 8 different reports that you receive on a monthly basis to help you have a better understanding. The first report is a financial summary. This is a cash report of all funds in the district. If you look across the top of the report, we start with a carryover balance or our beginning balance from the previous year. So in this case, in the general fund, we started the year with $11.2 million. If we skip the month-to-date receipts and go straight to the fiscal year-to-date receipts or our revenue for the current year, you can see our carryover balance or beginning balance plus our revenue equals what we have available to spend. Skipping over to the fiscal year-to-date expenditures or our expenses. So subtracting that, so carryover balance plus revenue minus expenses equals our current cash balance. So again, this column here is how much money we brought in this year. The $37.7 million is how much money we've spent in the current fiscal year in the general fund, leaving us a balance of $16.7 million. We also have $1.9 million, almost $2 million of outstanding purchase orders or encumbrances, leaving an available balance of $14.8 million. So again, this is a financial summary report or cash report. You can see as you scroll down all of the different funds that are available for you to look at, including your building funds, your debt service funds, your student activities, and all the way down to your grants and your 500 funds listed here, IDEA, Title I, Perkins. So again, this report just shows your cash balance, how much you started the year with, what you brought in, what you spent, and what your current balance is. This is the same report as the previous financial summary, just with additional detail. So before, for example, in the bond retirement fund, which is listed here, you can see before we just showed you this $4.1 million of the summer report. This one gives you more detail, breaks out the 1998 bond issue, the library bond issue, as well as the 2008 bond issue for the construction of the high school overlook, Valley View and Isham. So again, same information, beginning balance plus receipts minus expenditures equals your current cash balance minus encumbrances equals what you have available. This is a revenue summary report. This shows all revenue for the district and all funds. Again, focusing on the general fund, you can see this where the red arrow is pointing. That should tie back to your certificate of revenue that the board approves in the fall, and then again at the end of the fiscal year. But that total is your projected revenue for the year. Next column is what we've actually received for the year, fiscal year date actual receipts or received. And then going over to the following far column on the right, you can see the percentage projected to receive. So in this case, in the general fund, through May, we received 96.4% of what we projected we receive, which is the $43.2 million divided by the $44.8 million in the first 2 columns. And again, this shows that for all funds, from the general fund down through your bond retirement, permanent improvements, building, food services, your student activities, and again your federal and state grants. You can see all of those different funds throughout this report, going all the way down to the bottom here. So again, this just gives you a complete summary of your revenue with a little bit more detail by fund. This is another look at a revenue summary report with additional information. You can see here, same as the previous report with additional detail. So you can see for real estate taxes, for example, we projected to receive 18.8, we received 19.3, or 102.5% of collection. And again, you can see this as we go down through all of the different accounts. If we go down here through our school foundation, at this point projected to receive 18.1, we received 15.5, we're at 84% collected. And that gives you the detail all the way through the general fund and all of your other funds. And it's the same information, just with additional detail. This is an appropriation or budget report that you also get each month. Again, focusing on the columns across the top. This focuses in on the general fund. And you can see your fiscal year to date appropriated is your budgeted number. That's the number that you approved when you approved your appropriation resolution. If we have any carryover encumbrances, in this case this line, this is salaries, so we don't have any carryover encumbrances. But if we go down here to supplies, for example, we had a little bit over $250,000 in carryover. That leads us, so if we had our budgeted plus our carryover, it gives us our total available to spend. Again, what you authorized on your appropriation resolution plus any money that was carried over from last year is what we have available to spend. The next column is our total spent, our fiscal year to date actual expenditures. If we take our total available minus total expense minus our committed open purchase orders that are out there or commitments, that gives us our available. So this is what is still available to be spent in the current fiscal year as a result of our appropriation resolution, our carryover encumbrances, and what we've actually spent this year. So in this example here, this is regular instruction salaries. We have $1.7 million still available to spend, or we 87.3% expended. 1,100 is regular education. Your 1,200 here is your special education. 1,300 goes down to career tech, and then if you keep scrolling down, you can see your support services. This is an appropriation summary, again, just with a lot less detail. It's just at the fund level. So the previous one gave us all that detail related to instruction, regular instruction, special education, salary, supplies, purchase services. This just looks at the general fund in totality. So a very high level view, but again, your fiscal year date appropriated, what was approved on your appropriation resolution, plus any carryovers, equals what you have available, minus what you've spent, equals your available over here. Again, just a high level view for each fund, general fund, all the way down through your student activities, local and federal grants. This is another report you receive, your check register. This is all the checks that were issued during the current month, this being the month of May 2016. You can see your check number, the vendor, a description of what is being ordered, the fund that it was ordered out of, and how much was paid. And you can see, so for example here we have a check to STRS. This is for our occupational and physical therapy third-party providers paying their retirement. For Ziegler, which is one of our vendors that provide those services, $364.50. And again, this report shows all checks issued for the current month. And this is the final report that you receive each month as part of your board packet. This report is really intended to take all of the previous reports shared and put them into one condensed high-level report. Not a lot of detail, but it compares a lot of the information that you see with the detail on the previous reports. So this report is in two sections. First section is a budget to actual report comparison for just the general fund, looking at our beginning cash balance, total revenue for the year. So in this case, projecting $44.8 million, have received through the month of May $43.2 million, or 96.4% of collected. The target and variance percentage for revenue can be a little misleading since we don't receive our revenue equally throughout the year in each 12 months. 40% of our revenue comes from property taxes that are received in July and August, and then again in January and February. So that's the reason here in May that our variance percentage is a lot higher than our targeted percentage, because we have received the majority of our revenue, at least from local property taxes, still waiting to receive some state aid. But on the expenditure level, again, we have our budgeted, what we spent to date, and our variance, and then our variance percentage. So that is our $21 million divided by the $23 million, so we're 90.5% expended. Our target percentage would be 92.3% based on the number of payrolls that we've issued throughout this school year. So you can see here we're trending a little bit low, or a little bit less than what we had projected when it comes to salaries and wages. Then the same thing for benefits, purchase services, supplies. You can see the targeted percentage representing 11 of the 12 months completed and where we stand in each of those categories. So this report really gives you a quick view of where we're trending in the general fund as it relates to budget versus actual. As we go down the bottom, you can see we currently have revenue exceeding expenditures of $5.5 million, and ending cash balance right now $16.7 million as of the end of May, $1.9 million encumbrances, so $14.8 million still available in the general fund as a carryover. The bottom half of the report focuses on all funds. Again, the top half was just the general fund. So this looks at our funds related to student activities, grants, debt service, and everything else that is detailed out on those previous reports. And just as it states, total revenue for the month is 4.1. We spent 3.7, so we have $31.1 million in the bank available for cash flow and investments. Total appropriations for the year, as approved by your appropriation resolution, $61.4 million. Prior fiscal year carryover encumbrances were 2.7, so we have $64.2 million available to be spent as a result of the carryover encumbrances and the appropriation resolution approved by the Board of Education. And we have spent to date 59.7, so we're 93.1%, which is right on track as we are 11 months into the fiscal year. So again, I hope this tutorial gives you a little bit better understanding when you look at your monthly financial reports to help you understand the financial picture of the school district.